This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest Road to the 2023 Kentucky Derby video. And in this video, I'm going to do analysis of the Florida Derby. Now, I just did analysis of the Gulfstream Park Oaks, a Kentucky Oaks points race. You can check that video out. And I got some other Oaks and Derby videos scheduled for my channel this week, including the Arkansas Derby. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel for all of those videos this week. And if you're interested in my annual Kentucky Derby Day full card at Churchill Downs, you'll find that later this spring at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page. I have all of the products on my sales page right now. I have a list of the products that I'm covering for the Triple Crown Series this year, including Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont Stakes full cards. You can buy the entire Triple Crown package, individual full cards for the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont as well. So all those products are listed at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page, so check that out if you're interested. Now we'll get into the analysis of this video. It's going to be the 14th race at Gulfstream Park for Saturday, April 1st, 2023. This is the Grade 1 $1 million Florida Derby for 3-year-olds traveling 1 1/8 on the main track. Scheduled post time 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a full field in here, so let's dive right in, beginning with number 1, a Jungfrau for trainer Bill Mott. This is a son of Arrogate. Paco Lopez will ride. And with that 20-to-1 price, if you like this one, you're going to get a price on a Bill Mott trainee. Back-to-back 4th place finishes to begin his career at 7 furlongs and 1 1/8 last year. And then he was placed first through disqualification when he finished second by a nose at 1 1/16 at Gulfstream on December 31st. They tried him in the Withers Stakes at Aqueduct last time. That was a Derby points race. He was 6th, beaten 49 lengths. So he's never crossed the line first. He does have some positional speed, and he will save ground, probably sitting somewhere in mid-pack. Tough to recommend off that last start. Number 2, West Coast Cowboy for trainer Safi Joseph Jr. And this son of West Coast has run 3 times with a win and a third. His career debut, he was first by a neck in a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park in the slop last September. His second career start, Optional Claiming Company, he was an even 4th. Then he was 58-to-1 in the Grade 3 Holy Bull last time, and he ran a quality race there. The pace was slow. He had post 2, and he was just able to sit there tracking the pace, saving all the ground, and he finished a clear 3rd. He overperformed there, but I think that the trip and the slow pace really helped his chances, and I think the pace will be quicker here, and he's going to be meeting a better field, including your 2-year-old champion Forte in this race. Shaq Diesel is next, and he's 30-to-1 morning line. He's run 8 times, and he's won 3 times, but he does seem to be a bit up against it. This is a Florida son of Kozan, a Florida-bred son of Kozan, and this one's taking blinkers off in here. And he did win a couple races at Gulfstream Park, a maiden claiming 50,000 and an optional claiming race last year at 7 furlongs on a fast track. So the slop and the fast track races were good. And then the inaugural stakes, he was a well-beaten 4th. The Pasco Stakes, he was 3rd, beaten 9 lengths. Optional claiming race, he was in an optional claiming 32 at 1 40 that was at Tampa Bay, and that was on January 28th. And he won that one by a neck. And then the Risen Star, he was just overmatched. 10th, beaten 16 lengths in that 14-horse field. He was 184-to-1 in there. He's going to be a big price in here as well. And he'll probably be forwardly placed chasing the pace. Mage is next, and this one's number 4 at 10-to-1 morning line. And this is a son of Good Magic, and he still has some upside. He's only run twice. His 7 furlong debut, that was a fast race, but it wasn't a fast pace. It was just a fast final time. The pace was very controlled. He was out there setting that pace, and he won by more than 3 lengths. Fast final time in that slow early, fast late event. In his second career start, the Fountain of Youth Stakes, he ran into Forte. There was no way after 1 career start that he was going to be able to jump up and beat such a seasoned horse as Forte and some of the other horses that he faced that day, including Holy Bull winner Rocket Can. Cyclone Mischief had plenty of experience. So he was just lacking the experience there. He was also losing Lasix, stretching out in distance in his first start against winners, against graded company, and he wasn't embarrassed. From post 6 in that 9-horse field, he didn't have a great start, ended up stalking wide, and he hung in there, and he was 4th, beaten more than 6 lengths. He was only a length out of 3rd. Good experience run there. I can see him moving forward. Luis Saez gets aboard, and I think that he can impact the pace in this race, along with a few others. Mr. Peaks is another one that could impact the pace for trainer Safi Joseph Jr. And this one is a son of California Chrome. He's still a maiden after 2 starts. He was in the Ian Wilkes barn. I thought he really ran well in his debut. considering Ian Wilkes doesn't really send out horses live first time out. He had the inside post, an intimidating post. He was 8-1. He was dueling on the lead. He ended up finishing fourth, beaten 4 lengths. Much better effort. Second time out, he had post 5 in a 6-horse field. He broke on top. He dueled on the lead. He ended up finishing a clear second. So now he's going to stretch out after 2 sprints. He'll impact the pace for his fine new trainer. I think that he's up against it from a class standpoint. Nautical Star is next for trainer Saffie Joseph Jr., and this one is a son of Dixie Chatter, and he's 30-1 morning line. He was 4th in his career debut at 35-1 odds. Second time out, he graduated by a nose, rallying from off the pace at post 11 and then 11-horse field. Good wide run there. 2 sprints to a route, moving to the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn, stretching out in distance and trying stakes company. We'll have to see how good he is. He's really going to get tested in here. Il Miracolo is next, and he's 30-1 morning line. And Jesus Rios will ride for trainer Antonio Seno, and he adds blinkers for this. He's run 8 times, and he's only won once. And his maiden win was a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park, going wire to wire last November. Since then, he's faced stakes company 4 times, hasn't done anything. The Remsen, 6x31. The Mucho Macho Man, he was 7th, beaten 6 lengths. The Holy Bull Stakes, 5th, beaten 10. And the Fountain of Youth, 6th, beaten 19. They're shaking it up, adding blinkers. He's really going to have to improve to threaten these. He does have a couple bullet workouts for this on March 17th and March 25th. Mr. Ripple is next for trainer Saffie Joseph Jr., and he's another one that could impact the pace. He does have a little more distance experience than his other horses that I mentioned that were in his barn as well. Dialed In is the sire here, and he broke his maiden first time out in a 1-turn mile by 9 lengths. Good effort there. Second time out, he added Lasix. He was 3rd behind, and Cyclone, Mischief, and Litigate were 1-2 there. Litigate came back and won the Sam F. Davis. Cyclone, Mischief placed in the Fountain of Youth Stakes. And then last time out, a mile in an 8th optional claiming race. He battled on the pace, and he had the lead in the stretch, but he was 2nd, and he was a couple lengths clear of the show. Decent enough effort, stepping up in class here. I think he's probably going to end up stalking the pace. Cyclone Mischief, I mentioned him for trainer Dale Romans. His son of Into Mischief has run 6 times with a couple wins and a couple thirds. He's kind of been an up and down type horse. He was okay in his debut, battling on the pace in a 1-turn mile and finishing a close 3rd. Second time out, he was the favorite at a mile and a 16th at Keeneland. He pressed, he led, he won by 5. In his 3rd start, the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes, he was up there on a slow pace. He just couldn't keep it going. He ended up finishing 7th in a disappointing effort. They added Lasix in his best career effort, a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream against Optional Claiming Company. He stalked, made a nice move. He dominated that one, and he defeated next out Sam F. Davis winner Litigate. He showed up in the Holy Bull. He lost Lasix. He ran poorly. He was 7th, beaten 11 lengths after stalking the pace. Better effort in the Fountain of Youth. He was able to get in front there. From post 8, they aggressively rode him. He got to the lead under Tyler Gaffalione, and he ended up finishing 3rd. He's going to have to step it up. He's going to meet some other speed in here. They paid $450,000 for him. He's got some ability, but I don't know that he's definitely doesn't have Forte's ability. Maybe enough ability to hit the road, hit the board. Javier Castellano will end up riding him in here. Fort Bragg is next, and he was my top choice for the Sunland Derby last week, but they ended up scratching. I really wish they would have run him there. It looked like that race had a good amount of pace, and he was going to set a good tactical trip there. And they ended up thinking that race had too much pace, and they ended up coming here. And this race has a decent amount of pace, and now he's meeting a much better field, I think, that he would have been meeting in New Mexico. But he's shown ability. They paid $700,000 for this son of Tappet. He was in the Bob Baffert barn. Now he's in the Tim Yakteen barn. And when he ran for Baffert in his career debut, he was 3rd behind Speedboat Beach and Hijazi, his stablemates at that time. Speedboat Beach was a next out stakes winner. Hijazi was stakes placed after that. And then Fort Bragg came back, and he did cross the line first after stalking, taking the lead, and defeating Practical Move on October 10th at a mile at Santa Anita. But he was placed 2nd through disqualification for bothering that rival. I think he would have won anyway, but he bothered him. They took him down, and then they put blinkers on. He was the heavy favorite in his next maiden race, and he defeated Reincarnate. And that one came back and won the Sham Stakes after breaking his maiden. And then he was 3rd in the Rebel Stakes, and he's running in the Arkansas Derby next. They took blinkers off for his next start in the Los Al Futurity. A Practical Move defeated him that day. Carmel Road set the pace, and he was second best. And Practical Move set a great inside trip that day. And Carmel Road set a nice trip on the lead. Fort Bragg did not set a good trip that day. He looked like he wanted to be forwardly placed, but he was checked and shuffled back to last. And then he rallied from last to finish a well-beaten clear third under Flavien Prat. Last time out, his first start this year and his first start moving to the Tim Teen Barn, the San Felipe Stakes, post 7 in a 9-horse field. He was stalking wide. He ended up 5th, a nice even effort. So now second start after a layoff. I think he can set a good tactical trip, but from post 10, he could end up being wide under Joao Rosario. But he's one that does have some ability. He just hasn't put it all together physically and mentally yet. Forte has definitely put it together in his races. He's 5 for 6 lifetime. Romped in his career debut. The only time he stubbed his toe was second time out in the Grade 3 Sanford. He finished an even 4th. After that, he won the Hopeful Stakes in the slop. That was a Grade 1 at Saratoga by 3 lengths, rallying from off the pace. The Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity stretched him out at Keeneland. He rallied to win that one by a neck. Loggins was second. They were well clear of the rest. In the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he stalked the pace. He ran down Cave Rock, and National Treasure was third there. And then in his last start, the Fountain of Youth Stakes, his first start this year, he was the 1-2 favorite. He sat in mid-pack. He dominated. He won by more than 4. He's the fastest horse on paper. He has technical speed. He could be in for a wide stalking trip, but I don't know that that will even slow him down here because he's so much faster than his rivals on paper. He's 4-5 morning line, and he is like the likely winner here. And Dubyuhnell rounds out the field. He's 6-1 morning line for trainer Danny Gargan. This is another good magic colt. 2 for 4 lifetime. The problem is his 2 good efforts were in the slop. His career debut on a fast track, he was 4th, beaten 7 lengths. He was stalking wide in that 9-horse field. His second career start, he added blinkers in the slop, a race originally scheduled for the turf course, and he stalked the pace sitting in mid-pack from post 9. In that 9-horse field, he won by more than 2 lengths. In the Remsen Stakes, that was in the slop at 1 1/8 at this distance. He chased from second, and it was really Dubyuhnell and Arctic Arrogance dominating that one throughout. And Dubyuhnell was able to outfinish Arctic Arrogance by a half length, and it was more than 11 lengths back to the show finisher. The Sam F. Davis Stakes, again, a fast track, never picked his feet up, didn't have a good early beginning, but that shouldn't have been an excuse for not picking his feet up at all, and he really didn't as the beaten favorite that day. Now he's stuck out in post 12, and Jose Ortiz will ride back, and he's going to have to work out some kind of trip in here. It really looks tough to go against Forte in here. I'm not going to try to beat him. He just looks so much better than his rivals. You would think if he was going to be vulnerable, it would have been his first start back in that Fountain of Youth Stakes. But now they want to probably tighten the screws more in this race and get him really ready for the Kentucky Derby. And I can definitely just see him rallying past this group. There's enough horses. There's some fillers in this race. We have horses stretching out in distance. I think the pace is going to be honest. And I think Forte is going to stay out of trouble from an outer post. And he's going to run these down and do just what he did in the Fountain of Youth. So Forte, my top choice, no surprise there. Fort Bragg will be my second choice. I did like him in that Sunland Derby. I think he's got some ability, and we'll see what he can do in this spot. And then Mage will round out my top 3. Those are the only 3 horses that I really like in this race. We will play an exacta box with Forte and Fort Bragg. That's a 10-11 exacta box. Definitely pushing the 11 on top, and then maybe a little 10-11 saver, since I did like him in the Sunland race. And then a trifecta key of the 11 Forte over the 4 Mage and the 10 Fort Bragg. And that will wrap up my look at the Florida Derby. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like these Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks points races. And I'll be back. I'll be doing some more races, including the Arkansas Derby this week. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.